short. Where's Jack? Looking good, man. Looking good. I think everything's gonna be all right. How fast you think it's going to be? 208. Talking about now. 209. 210. Last year you started in the back row. I'm a little worried. You came to the front though. Yeah. Until we got over here in the third corner. And I started doing some donuts. First class? Yeah. That's a pretty wild wreck. I remember how I got started. Hey, you gonna win another one this year?
Daytona International Speedway, the world center of racing, where today's attraction is a unique event, the Busch Clash. Hello everyone, I'm Chris Economaki, and welcome to a different kind of auto race. A hell-for-leather sprint that could be over in as little as 15 minutes. It's not 500 miles, it's not 200, it's 50. And the 10 men lined up here earned their way in by winning pole positions at all the major races during last year's long season. The idea today is to get out front as quickly as possible and stay there. Now, let's meet the cast of characters. Jeff Bodine, still savoring his Daytona 500 win of last year. Rookie of the Year from Wisconsin, Alan Kulwicki, who just got here with car trouble. I'll bet she's a bit nervous. And here's seasoned veteran Harry Gant, always in the hunt. And the next up, Darrell Waltrip, a man who has started in every clash since it began, a pro forma winner with a new car, a new sponsor, and a new team.
Hey, Chris.
Okay, and this wiry man, Ricky Rudd, fans are still remembering his remarkable overnight comeback from his high-flying 1984 crash. And it's said that still water runs deep. This aptly describes Terry Labonte, a former champion who holds the record for the Clash, and like Waltrip, on a new team this year. And the man of the moment, a two-time winner of the Clash, who after winning last year's crash went on to win the national championship. The always rough and the always ready Dale Earnhardt. And epitome of the Southern stock car driver, Cale Yarborough. For the first time in his career driving a car he owns himself. Go get him, Cale. And perhaps in the best starting position of all, a former champion having the outside front row position, Benny Parsons, whose talents include television work as well as driving fast cars. And on the pole, the leader of the parade, $1 Million Bill Elliott, the Georgia Flash. There's one driver who's not here. He's recovering in South Florida from pneumonia, and we miss him, Tim Richmond. Hurry up and get well. Well, that's our cast of characters, and now let's go upstairs to Ken Squire.
Thank you very much, Chris. It is a bright, beautiful Tim Richmond kind of day. However, the past 3 days we've been dodging showers, and it's left most of the drivers for this event, as Darrell Waltrip told me this morning, apprehensively excited. 4 inches of rain in that time period has pretty much washed away all the grit and the oil ground in the 24 hours of Daytona, and everyone expects we're going to break that mark of 195.865 miles per hour, the fastest race ever run here last year and the year previous. It was an equal time of 15 minutes and 19 seconds. But who better to speak to that than our voice of authority, two-time Grand National champion working alongside Ned Jarrett.
Ken, the conditions here today are conducive to high speeds. It won't surprise me to see them running laps well over 200 miles an hour in competition, and perhaps an average of over that as well. The temperatures are just right, and a little bit of wind blowing, which could affect them coming off of turn 2.
Lots of streamlining on these cars at 200 miles an hour. How much drafting do you think we're going to see?
The faster you go, the tougher it is to draft. We'll see a lot of it here today, but it's awfully tough to pass at the speeds that they're running over 200 miles an hour today. You really have to set yourself up right. But they did get in some draft testing time here yesterday afternoon, even as much rain as we've had. That should help to make for a closer race here today and for higher speeds.
Right now, down below, country music entertainer Hoyt Axton, who just completed the is about ready to give that command to get the Busch Clash for 1987 underway.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you please direct your attention down to pit road, I'd like to give the microphone back to the Grand Marshal for this year's Busch Clash, Mr. Hoyt Axton.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
The 1987 Busch Clash is sponsored by smooth and refreshing Busch Beer, the official beer of NASCAR. Speed Stick Deodorant, the wide stick gives you the edge. Speed Stick Deodorant by Menon. And by the U.S. Army, a place to be all you can be.
When you buy 10 rolls or more of Owens Corning Pink Fiberglass Insulation.
We are live at the World Center of Speed. There you see the weather, temperature 66 degrees. It'll be gusting up to some 25 miles per hour here today around this Daytona International Speedway. The field is now moving into the backstretch in the first of 2 preliminary laps. Big day on CBS. CBS Sports has a full card of super sports action for you today. Following our live coverage of the Busch Clash, we'll take you to Indiana for a key Big Ten matchup between number 2 ranked Indiana Hoosiers and the Michigan Wolverines. And then it's off to the Kingdome in Seattle, and that's the 37th annual NBA All-Star Game, all live today here on CBS. Field rolling down out of turn number 4 on the 31-degree banking of the Daytona Speedway.
And we noticed the wind blowing from north to south here. That could affect them on turn 2 drastically as they get into the mile-an-hour bracket.
Standing by on pit road, here's Mike Joy.
Ken, this is usually the busiest spot in stock car racing. Not today. In just 20 laps, there will be no pit strategy. All the strategy decided last night, this morning, and after the green flag drops. I went to the drivers and asked, if this were a dance, do you have a partner lined up? Jeff Bodine says, no, it's more like a disco. You just get up on stage by yourself and dance. Darrell Waltrip says, you get out there in the middle of the floor and pick somebody. You just know who you're dancing with. Cale Yarborough just laughed at the question, and Benny Parsons says, dance? No, he says, this is high-stakes poker. But these fellas fill a useful role. The crew chiefs are in two-way radio communication with their drivers, with lap times, trade information. And sorry, Ken Squire, but each team has its own play-by-play announcer up on the roof of the Speedway grandstand to alert them to trouble on the racetrack and inform them what drivers are running well where. The wind you mentioned was a big concern to Darrell Waltrip a moment ago. Turn 2 has been his trouble spot. The only pre-race strategy we uncovered, Labonte hopes to duck in behind Earnhardt in the early laps and draft. And Benny Parsons, some think he's in the best starting spot outside pole. He says no, he's got to find himself away in line behind Bill Elliott when they get that green flag.
Let's look at the starting grid. The man on the pole is Bill Elliott, second a year ago. Beside him is Benny Parsons in car number 35. Then in the second row, starting in third position, Cale Yarborough, who's been in every one of these races but one. And alongside is the man everybody's talking about, last year's winner and in 1980, Dale Earnhardt. Going to the fifth position, there you find Terry Labonte, a previous winner of the event. And then in the sixth position is Ricky Rudd. Back in the seventh slot will be Darrell Waltrip, a previous winner of the race. And then in the eighth position is Harry Gant. Running in ninth, Alan Kulwicki, who had some part drop into the engine this morning, was able to come back, make it just barely in time to get into this field. And finally, last year's Daytona 500-mile champion rides shotgun on the field. 10th and final position. Field ready for a start. 30 laps it is, 50 miles. Better than $210,000 posted for today's program. Pace car is in. We're set to begin stock car racing at the World Center of Speed, the Daytona International Speedway. Harold Kinder drops the green flag, and on the brakes, Elliott scoots out in front. A year ago, Elliott had the power in the straightaways, but in the turns, oh, trouble! Spinning is car number 11, Labonte, in the wall, around twice. Terry Labonte's car
and hit him, I think, Ken, and caused him to turn sideways. They were trying to get three abreast as they started into the turn, so it spun him all the way around.
You're watching this live as they race for position down the back straightaway. Here goes car number 17, scooting out in front.
Even though the caution is waving already, they will race back to the flag, the start-finish line, and Darrell Waltrip has mounted himself a good lead.
Earnhardt is back in the second position as they all came off the throttles on their headsets. They heard the story that there was trouble on the start. Waltrip will come across in first. It'll be Earnhardt in second, Cale Yarborough in third, and fourth across the stripe is Benny Parsons. And there you see the 15 of Ricky Rudd.
Apparently he and Labonte tangled as they went into the first turn. A lot of sheet metal damage done on that car. Rudd has not had too good of luck here in the Busch class.
No, indeed. He had that terrible crash a few years back. The first four flashes were run with no caution flags, and the last four, every year there's been a caution flag. And we have one here in the 9th edition. Let's take a look in replay at what happened as we have watched it from the start. Here was the field coming down to the tri-oval, and there you see Earnhardt in the middle. The yellow and blue car. There's Terry Labonte getting turned. It looks like he may have been collected by Waltrip or by Earnhardt.
By Earnhardt as he cut across. They were 4 deep before that started, and it looks like Earnhardt's car might have clipped Labonte. Labonte might not have been quite as far past him as he needed to be to move in front of him.
So here in the very first lap, Terry Labonte in trouble in car number 11, and Labonte, who won this race in 1985, will be looking up from under here on the rest of the way.
His first race in competition for the Junior Johnson team, something he's been very excited about.
From another angle, let's see if we can get a better picture of what happened here. This is from the rear.
Okay, you see them 3 deep, Earnhardt in the middle. You see Labonte start out. Earnhardt really had no choice. He clipped both of them at about the same time. When Labonte touched Earnhardt, it threw the front end of his car over into Ricky Rudd, and around those two went, and Earnhardt apparently getting through okay.
On pit road, number 33 Gant is in for right side rubber, the Travis Carter prepared car for Hal Needham. Car number 9 backed off a bit and dropped down to 6th position on that start. I mean, he really came back.
That was a surprise. Everyone expected him to accelerate away. They know that he has one of the fastest cars here, but he's also a very cautious driver.
Under caution in the early moments here of the 9th annual Busch Clash from the World Center of Speed, and we'll be back with you live to resume competition in a moment.
Ace is the place you come to for everything you're looking for. Ace is the place that lends a helping hand. Ace is the place.
Ace is the place. Under caution, technical laps, none counting. They'll race a full 20 in this event. 1 lap has been completed. Waltrip for the 5th time in the 9 years leading the lap in the Clash. There you see him out in front carrying number 17, the number that he first brought to Daytona years ago. Here's Mike Joy with the report on Labonte's number 11 car.
Work continues here, Ken. They've got hammers and the razor saw out. Johnson is with us. Junior, what's Terry say happened out there?
Somebody caught him in the right rear and spun him into the wall.
You've had a close look at it. How bad?
I don't think he can drive it.
They're going to try to make repairs and get Terry Labonte back out there in hopes of getting more than the $10,000 last place money. Ricky Rudd's car behind the wall. Harry Gant took on tires. Ken?
Ricky Rudd going back into the garage area. His car scooting down behind the pit area toward the garage. Let's take a look at the prize money in this race, Ned.
It's a very rich race, $50,000 for first place, and Ken, that is almost as much as I won in my top season back in 1965 in winning the championship in 13 races.
But take a look at the lap money as well in this event. It really pays off. $10,000 for leading lap 5. Then in lap 10, it's $15,000, and lap 15, which could be sucker money. If you take that, you could be set up for that finish and lose the $50,000.
You could. It's a calculated risk that you have to take. Believe you me, every one of those drivers knows which laps that prize money is up there for.
And of course, the speed in this race is absolutely incredible. 195.865. That's been matched for the last 2 years in 1985 and 86, right down to that time of 15 minutes, 19 seconds. So the record is co-held by Labonte and by Earnhardt. I think we're 1 lap away from getting this race back underway. The work continues on Terry Labonte's car number 11. Let's look one more time at what happened to the Junior Johnson aspirations in the very first laps of 400 or 500 feet from where it began.
Of course, they were bunched very tightly trying to get position as they went into the first turn. You see Earnhardt's yellow car in the middle. Labonte maybe could have been touched by, was that the Rudd car coming in behind? And he got into Labonte, spun him around, and Ricky Rudd out there had nowhere to go. That was not Rudd down on the inside. That was Darrell Waltrip's car, number 17. He's the fellow that eventually wound up the leader.
So very definitely the aerodynamics on several are having problems in the early going. Don't forget, next Sunday on CBS Sports, NASCAR's premier event, flag-to-flag coverage of the Daytona 500, live here from the World Center of Speed. Join me, Ken Squire, along with my colleagues Chris Economaki, Ned Jarrett, David Hobbs, Mike Joy, and Dave Despain joins us for the 29th running of one of America's most prestigious racing events, the Great American Race, the Daytona 500. Next Sunday on CBS Sports, there will be 40 strong coming down to the wire at about 12:15. Be here on CBS. You're watching Waltrip up in front with his new colors, and of course you see his new sponsor. There's an ongoing conflict between him and Earnhardt, trying to ace each other out with the best line. Perhaps the best line was Earnhardt this morning saying that Darrell had a birthday this week, and he's 40 years old and all washed up.
Well, Darrell says they're going to clean this sport up with his new sponsor. I'll tell you, he's excited about this year. Waddell Wilson is the engine builder. We have seen him in the past win the Daytona 500. Horsepower counts strongly here. Darrell Waltrip knows how to set a car up. Let's see how well, because Earnhardt's car always handles well as the green flag drops.
Waddell Wilson prepared this engine specifically for this 20th lap encounter. These engine builders and car builders used to those long 500-mile hitches, but this is just a sprint. And out in front spurts the car number 17 of Darrell Waltrip. Behind him, there you see deployed number 3 Earnhardt. He's won it twice, and both years went on to win the national championship. Into the back straightaway. Winds gusting across there at some 25 miles per hour. That's the one place in the track that could be an Achilles heel for any of these cars with aerodynamic problems. They get hit by just a little breeze. It could give them problems there.
It certainly can. Off of turn 2, Waltrip's car is really flying down the straightaway, and it looks like he's going through the turns well as the others begin to bunch up again. We'll see if that helps them or hurts them.
And here comes Bodine down at the bottom of the track. Remember, he started 10th. As they come to the tri-oval, he's working his way up into 4th, challenging Cale Yarborough. Bodine, last year's winner, won 2 Winston Cup races, 5 in his career. The bottom side of the yellow and white car, getting a great handle. That's where they said Earnhardt could win this race, bottom of the racetrack. But as you see right now, just pulling tremendous horsepower down the back straightaway. Waltrip's in front, Earnhardt's in second. Bodine now comes to third.
Ken, some people have said that Darrell Waltrip wouldn't drive fast on a high-speed racetrack. Here's Jeff Bodine driving very fast as he goes around Earnhardt. He wants to prove to the world that maybe he hasn't had the car that would run that fast on super speedways. Waddell Wilson does.
Take a look at Bodine continuing to motor through the field. Tim Richmond just called. Everybody in this field, good luck as you watch Waddell Wilson peering on his car out in front. Richmond says he'll be back in May. We miss you, Tim. Need you out here in this race. 202 mile an hour lap the last time by. They were averaging 202.7 on your leader, number 17 Waltrip. And Bodine from out back now comes into second spot and scampers after the leader in the back straightaway. Here they are up to about 250 miles per hour, and look who's coming down. It's Bill Elliott, car number 9. Remember last year he had the horsepower but didn't have the handle in the corners. This year it looks like he's got them wound together very nicely in a package delivered by his brother Ernie Elliott, and he's closing on that second place car, Bodine.
And the second place car is closing on the leader.
4 laps of the 20 now complete. Just 50 miles for $200,000. Waltrip out in front, and he said yesterday, I want to get out in front, I want to stay out in front. He's leading by some 15 car lengths. The story is second position. A Ford has never won this race. It's a Ford in third place with Bill Elliott at this moment, and closing on Bodine. Back straightaway. Look at Elliott on the haul. There's your leader, 17 in front. The battle just behind as Bill Elliott in car number 9 closes in and takes a shot. Meanwhile, moving under Darrell Waltrip, the aerodynamics must have been rumpled on car number 3. Cale Yarborough moving up again. There comes Elliott in the red Ford Thunderbird. Ford never winning. 2 Oldsmobiles won it the first 2 years. Then Buick won it for a couple of years, and Chevrolet for the last 4.
The last lap. second place car picked up 0.2 of a second on Darrell Waltrip. When Elliott moved up on Jeff Bodine's bumper, that picked their speed up, so they should be able to draft up to him.
Bodine looked like he might have been showing smoke in turn number 2. Those two cars running in tandem, second and third position, trying to close in the leaders, and now they single file in the draft. Two cars running nose to tail, run so much faster than one car by itself, but this car looks like it's overhauling everybody out here. Here's the time coming up. Give you the speed on this lap. Now they break out of formation out back. That will cost them. But notice Bodine and Elliott running nose to tail, trying to close. 200.893 miles per hour. Remember, those yellow laps did not count. They take the time. They stop here at the start-finish line. Not count the caution laps in the sprint race. Leader, Waltrip, and definitely his lead is disappearing.
Yes, it is. Bodine is picking up, and with the help of Bill Elliott, and Elliott knows that, so he's going to be content to sit there in third position at the moment until they get to the front.
Yarborough is 4th, Earnhardt is 5th, Gant is 6th, Parsons is 7th, Kowicki is in 8th. Here they come, and look at this close by Bodine bottom of the racetrack. He does have the handle. Crowd on their feet, and it's a big one here today. As they come back into the tri-oval, Elliott drops on the inside. The board of Bill Elliott goes beneath the Chevrolet and closes up on that Chevrolet that's in front. $10,000 bonus at lap 5 collected by Waltrip as his own team under the Rick Hendrick colors this year. Waddell Wilson, master engine builder. As we mentioned, he put one together that he says is a hand grenade. It will last 20, line out by 25 laps. Here comes part of it. Elliott closing in, moving ever so much closer to that leader, making a drive on the inside. Elliott hustling down to the bottom of the racetrack, going for the lead. They're wheel to wheel on turn number 4. And Bill Elliott is taking the lead as by to complete lap number 8. First time Elliott has led in the class since '83, when he had first place for 9 laps.
That's something that has sort of bothered him with the domination that he's shown in other races here at Daytona. He just simply hasn't been able to do it in this race, but they've got that car set up right. When he can pass on the low side of the racetrack like he did, Ken, the car is working.
But remember, Ned, when he led those laps, he finally wound up third that day.
Very true.
Here's Waltrip. That's not running the way Waltrip had it designed. He wanted to stay out in front, and motoring down the inside, Elliott really looks strong.
You see how high Darrell's car goes as it goes into the turn. The car apparently is a little bit loose. That means the back end's not sticking quite as high as he would like to.
And remember that Waltrip was bumped in that incident at the very outset of the event.
That could very definitely foul up the aerodynamics of the car. $15,000 coming up to the leader this next lap. Let's see. They know it. Let's see what they're going to do.
It's a tremendous 3-car battle up in front. Elliott is there, then 2 Chevrolets running side by side. Bodine getting a better handle, and I think the handle has gone away on car number 17. Here's Bodine taking the shot on the inside, and then further back, there you see the 4th place car, Earnhardt. Right with him comes Benny Parsons in the 5th, number 35, back to the leaders. Scooting out in front, checking the elapsed time to see if we're on a record now. There you see the record time for 10 laps halfway, 7:39.5. Here they are to the line. They're on the record, 7:35.6. They are on the record, and closing in comes Waltrip. They could bust it. Remember what that is, 195.8 miles per hour. Fastest race ever run. You may be watching it live here on CBS, being shattered this afternoon. Back straightaway here at Daytona. Elliott's in first. What does Waltrip have in mind? In car number 17, we'll know in just a few moments.
The car is very fast down the straightaway, Ken. Now, this time he's going to try to keep it low, but he can't do it. The car simply won't stay on the low side of the racetrack. You see Bodine coming up behind. He can keep his car down there. That can make the difference.
The Randy Dorton engine in car number 5. Forming superb. Rick Hendrick now has cars in 2nd and 3rd of the Hendrick Racing Stables. And his other car, the Parsons car, back in 5th, now dropping back a spot. Cale is pulling up, Kowicki is pulling up, and Parsons is back into the 8th. Let's check the standings after 10 laps. Standings after 10. Elliott first, Waltrip 2nd, then Parsons. This was after 10 laps at the halfway point. Benny Parsons out in front, Waltrip in second. And here's Waltrip right there. Bodine. Again, you see that number 17 just cozying up toward that wall, about 8 or 9 feet. There's the rest of the field. There you see Earnhardt trying to draw away. Cale Yarborough running in 5th behind him. Kulwicki in 6th. Parsons in 7th. Gannon 8th.
And Kulwicki trying to take the 5th position away, and I think just has from Cale Yarborough. A tremendous drive. A fellow who had problems this morning with the engine. Someone dropped something through the carburetor down into the engine of that car. They got on the line 3 minutes before this race rolled off the line.
Alan Kulwicki made this race as the wild card draw. They draw among the drivers who were fastest in the second qualifying period. And in the very first year they did that, Neil Bonnet went right out of the wild card and won the event. Then for 2 years it was Rusty Wallace. This year, Alan Kulwicki, great Wisconsin campaigner, neat guy. You'll see him next week mixing it up. Last year he didn't even qualify for the Daytona 500, nor for Richmond, but he made a tremendous comeback in the second part of the year. Great champion. We'll watch Kulwicki carefully next Sunday in the Daytona 500. The trio in the lead have now completed 13 laps. 13 down, 7 to go to decide it here. Look at Waltrip fighting that car all the way on the outside. We'll be checking lap speed again this time by. Remember that Waltrip started in the 7th position. Bodine started 10th. All to 6, and here he is back in command. It's the best class we've had. The 9th class. Checking time on this lap bar. Into the trioval, 17-degree banking. 45-1, 199.556 miles an hour. He's backed up a little.
Yes, he has. As the tires heat up a little bit, Ken, they don't adhere to the track quite as much as they do when they're cooler. Plus the fact that Waltrip's car is not handling well in the turn, going high. That's actually slowing Bill Elliott down. It's dragging him down a little bit. If he was able to stay right on his back bumper, he could pick the speed up.
The record at 10 laps is a new 195.228 miles per hour. And remember, they had to come to full speed twice in this race. We'd be up around 198 or 199, but they had to come back up. They brought them across the line about 8 miles per hour to take the green in the resumption after that first lap incident. If you missed it, Terry Labonte's car getting badly wrapped just 500 feet the other side of the finish line, going toward turn 1, right there. It nosed into that wall. You can see the tire marks up against the wall where it spun and collected the concrete twice. Turn 1. 3-car draw. Which one do you want?
Waltrip is certainly setting into the position, Ken, if he could just keep his car lower on the racetrack. Maybe he's doing that. You know, maybe he's playing a little possum with him there.
And the last lap dropped back to 198.8, which means that Elliott is playing with his field. He is not showing everything he's got. Here's Bodine taking the shot on the inside. Second place in question. Number 5, Bodine is down there. And again, Waltrip is able to fend him off.
Tremendous horsepower on the straightaway.
Ernie Elliott built the engine in car number 9. They changed engines 2 days ago. Here comes Waltrip, sneaking a peek on the outside. The Waddell Wilson engine, 650 plus, probably 675. You can put your foot on as you flat-foot it down the back straightaway here at the World Center. Next Sunday, live, the Daytona 500, the Great American Race on CBS. Car number 5, Bodine, inside again, Waltrip high side. Great dice, and they'll lose time here. This could be all that Elliott needs to say goodbye.
Very definitely. Bodine made his move a little bit earlier that time. He came off of turn 2, hoping that he could go past before he got to turn 3. It didn't work, so he's back in 3rd place again.
17 laps complete. 17 complete. Record at 15 laps. 197.947. The old mark was a 195.652. We have a new record at 15 laps. 197.947. There's the rest of the field. You see Earnhardt there. In that 4th position. Kulwicki coming to 5th. What a surprise he is. He has a new crew chief and Cliff Champion. Doing an outstanding job for him.
And back up front, they are really dicing with each other. Bodine knows that he needs to get by Darrell Waltrip before the white flag drops.
2 to go this time, Bob. 2 to go. Elliott trying to give Ford their first victory in the Clash. Preview of next week, Ned?
Oh, yes. We only have 25% of the cars in this field. Imagine 4 times this many. And for 500 miles.
Out of turn 2. And that's where the wind, you can see it on Waltrip's car for just a moment. Those gusts just lift that nose up. And at 200 miles an hour, it sets you over 2 or 3 feet. Here's Waltrip trying to close. Now it's show and tell. 18 and a half laps complete. It paid $10,000 at lap 5. It paid $15,000 at lap 10. It paid $10,000 for lap 15. It'll pay $50,000 for lap 20.
Okay, Bodine made his move off of turn 4 this time, and it worked for him now. Has Bill Elliott gotten too far away? They got the white flag.
1 to go, last time around. Here's Bodine. He's got about 10 to 12 car lengths to make up.
And that's a lot of making up to do.
Waltrip takes the high side. Let's see if he tucks in behind. It takes one more stab at trying to contain $1 Million Bill. Winner of 11 races 2 years ago. Won the Winston there. That battle for second position. And as they run just a little off, not nose to tail, trying to draw away is number 9 Elliott. Bodine gives it everything he's got at over 200 miles an hour. Off turn number 4. Here they come driving for the finish at the line. It'll be number 9. Bill Elliott has won the 9th annual Busch Clash here at the World Center of Speed, Daytona. And it is a new record. Margin of victory, 29/100ths of a second. Number 9, Elliott, flanks a Ford in victory lane for the first time in this event. Jeff Bodine credited with second, Waltrip for third. It'll be Earnhardt fourth, Alan Kulwicki in fifth, Cale Yarborough to sixth, Benny Parsons in seventh. And again, take a look at this finish.
Elliott had himself in the right position when they changed positions back there. That let him pick up enough to just breeze to the wind, Ken. He didn't have to hold off anybody as he came across the start-finish line or even off the 4th turn.
Beautiful finish. There's the margin of victory at 29/100ths of a second, and Bill Elliott writes his name on this one and also underlines his name for the Daytona 500 next Sunday.
He's the man to beat, no question about it. When they qualify for the Daytona 500, he'll be the man to beat, and then when the green flag drops next Sunday here on CBS, he'll still be the man to beat.
And you have a new record. You have just witnessed the fastest race in history, 197.802 miles per hour. And we'll be back to meet the winner of the Busch Clash of 1987 following these words.
Now here's your burger.
500 next Sunday on CBS Sports.
Well, here's the man that looks like he won the fastest automobile race ever won, Bill Elliott. Congratulations. Did you know it was that fast?
Not really. I'll tell you what, the old car really run good, but it worked good. That's what really surprised me. It looked like Darrell and them was running up the racetrack behind me. They could run up to me down the straightaway. When I get to the corner, they'd slide up, and I could stay on the bottom real good.
I saw you coming down low on the backstretch a lot. Was that a little maneuver you were doing there?
I was trying to keep them racing side by side. That's what I was trying to do, and I did a good job on that.
Tell us about that first lap episode. What were you close to that? Did you see what happened?
No, not really. I looked up in the mirror, and I saw Labonte sideways, and I just got out of the gas because I thought that, they'd just totally restart the race, and then all them other cars went by me, and I called in and asked Ernie, and he said, where you at? I said, oh, okay, so we'll go from there.
Everybody's got to be someplace. What does this mean for next Sunday, Bill?
Well, it means a lot, to come in here and do this. It looked like a lot of people had a lot of trouble coming into the race because I don't think the lack of practice and all that stuff seemed to have hindered a lot of teams. I felt like I was pretty much ready because when I came down here and tested, I tried to run several laps, and the car really worked good.
Billy, you've never run as fast as this before in your life, but you've never talked this fast before. Congratulations and good luck on the 500 next Sunday. And now let's go upstairs to Ken Squire.
15 minutes, 10 seconds was the time to run this one off, standing alongside a two-time winner of the Clash who hoped so much to be out here today. He'll be carrying one of our CBS in-car cameras next week in the Daytona 500. What about next week, Neil Bonnet?
Ken, well, the handwriting's on the wall. We've got our work to do this week to get prepared for the 500. Bill's shown us the Ford superiority in the corner, and we got some Chevrolets and Pontiacs, I think, can get after him, so we got to go to work.
Prizes here today in this race for you, Neil?
Well, I wanted to see the strength of Bill Elliott. I think that everybody in this garage has wondered how strong he was, and after that kind of a fluke start of the race, and they made him go back in the rear and come up there, he had to show his hand, and it's as strong as everybody thought.
Thank you very much, Neil Bonnet. You'll see him in the Raymock car next week here in the Daytona 500. We'll be back with more from the World Center of Speed right after these messages.
Conditioner. The 1987 Busch Clash has been sponsored by smooth and refreshing Busch Beer, the official beer of NASCAR.
Let's go right to Chris Economaki.
Today's race is a big head start on the Daytona 500. Those who didn't win know they have a lot of work to do. But let's not lose sight of what happened on the track here today. In an age where drivers have to be corporate spokespeople, financiers, and public relations practitioners, it's nice to know that and refreshing to watch a race where the old boyhood boast, "My car is faster than your car," was run. So it's on to the 500 next Sunday. No other sport has its most important race at the very beginning of the season. And what we saw today was a clash. And what we're going to see next Sunday is a war.
A harbinger of things to come for sure. Ford is the car to watch for in the 500 next week. Bill Elliott has proven that as we take a look at the final standings. Bodine coming in second, Waltrip in third. Ricky Rudd finishing in 10th after his car went out early from the event. Terry Labonte also having problems in that very first lap skirmish. For Chris Economaki, Ned Jarrett, and Mike Joy, this is Ken Squire saying so long from Daytona Beach, Florida, where the 1987 Busch Clash winner is Bill Elliott.